It has been 453 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me, as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th. And there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No,
Why?
because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi, Dad. I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with all decent clothes? Mom.
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
Breaking news here. 870 days after Sebastian Rogers first disappeared. Many of you remember that name. We followed it extensively here on WSMV. His father is now suing the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in federal court. So tonight we have an exclusive interview with Seth Rogers. Asks not just what happened to Sebastian, but what happened to the investigation.
We're continuing to follow breaking news in Sumner County. A large search is underway for a missing teen.
Thousands searched.
There is significant concern tonight.
He was last seen in all black.
Millions watched.
Dog, the bounty hunter, is coming to look for Sebastian.
Everyone had a theory.
What was under that soft soil?
Everyone wanted answers.
He deserves justice.
What happened to 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers? But nearly 2.5 years later.
All right, welcome everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Happy Saturday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I was preparing for a different live and completely forgot about Seth's live. But anyway, if you guys haven't seen, Seth did another live yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. Where he did kind of a part 2 of a Q&A. And so since last time we did his first one, and we just kind of broke it down, because I think the first one was like 3 hours, and all great questions, and I just kind of broke down kind of like just bundled it down into the highlights. And so I did that with his last live, and there are some new things that definitely some questions that weren't asked the first time around. So once again, I kind of broke down. Yeah, it is kind of a part 3 for me anyway, I guess. Yeah, because I did kind of do like the top 3 the other day from his first one. But yeah, but I think that was a part 2 for him. But anyway, I mean, it's awesome that he's doing that. I think that keeps, things interesting with Sebastian's case. I am what I was gonna prepare for was the Jack and Lily case. The mother did an interview about 4 or 5 days ago, which we haven't seen her since the first interview in the Jack and Lily Sullivan case. And so may do a live on that tomorrow. If you guys are interested in that, because I know a lot of people were a lot of the same people that are interested in the Sebastian Rogers case were kind of following that case as well. And, with so many cases going on, Nancy Guthrie obviously being a big one, I think that's been overlooked. And yeah, I was blown away that she did an interview. So anyway, back on track, Sebastian Rogers. So yeah, as you guys are tuning in, if you can, please hit that like button. One more time, Seth did a second Q&A, unless I missed one. Someone said part 3, but I don't know if you're just referring to my lives. Pretty sure this is a part 2. And so I just broke down highlights again. Hopefully I had time to put the link. If not, I'll throw it in there. But he did it on his channel. And of course, there's always more to it. So I'd always refer to, if you're interested in listening to the wider, broader answers and questions, because sometimes I kind of cut them down. Sometimes he goes in a little bit more. But yeah, I think that was the 2-hour live. And so I cut that down to about 30 minutes. Oh, has he done 3? Oh, yeah. Because he did the one right after the lawsuit. Okay, yeah, you're right. I start kind of blending together. So, okay, I stand corrected. This is 3. But anyway, main thing is I took his last live and I broke it down into highlights. And then there's some things that I also added in myself just to kind of give context to some things. And yeah. So let me get into it. And then, of course, the last time I went live, let's see, do I have it at the beginning? I think I do. Before we get to his Q&A again, let's see if this is the first part. Okay. So when I was doing my last live on Sebastian Rogers, I think it was Kiki and I think 1 or 2 others as well, sent me this, which was Fisher, and he was being interviewed by Down the Rabbit Hole. This was in 2024. I think it was in September, so almost 2 years ago, which is crazy. And he gives away something really big. We did talk about it in the last slide, but I didn't have I just had the clip that I think Kiki sent me. But I wanted to play just a little bit more before that. And anyway, yeah, as you guys know, fish sticks is the gift that keeps on giving. And so anyway, he reveals something that I think was something he probably wasn't supposed to reveal. So I'll play this as people filter in, and then right after this will be me breaking down the highlights from his live show.
They're as baffled as everybody else is.
So again, this is Mr. Fisher, nearly 2 years to the date almost, which is crazy to think about. So this would have been after the FBI put out the $50,000 reward. Obviously, the case was kind of slowing down as far as popularity. I mean, it always still had a big base. It still does, obviously. But, FBI put out that $50,000 reward. Then we had a coffin dapper, either you're a fan or not, kind of explain that, they don't do that for just any missing child, which was, I do think, interesting. But anyway, so here's Fisher. Keep in mind, this is before they start doing all the their stupid reenactments. This is just like months before that. And anyway, so she asked him some stuff. And so he answers this particular question. He kind of rambles for a minute. And I wanted to give a little bit more context to this window sensor. Because it kind of falls into the whole, they had cameras before, that we learned about in the lawsuit. And of course, was rumored. Nina talked about it. And anyway, so let's play this real quick.
well, more baffled. I mean, it's their own happening to their own kid, but they welcomed me in the house. They
Yeah, I
said,
don't blame him. Yeah.
nothing's off limits. Look wherever you want. Do
Black
it.
Widow.
Yeah, I wasn't there to snoop around their house, and I told them, I'm like, I'm not here. I just came to meet you and talk. And they're like, well, let's go look at Sebastian's room and look at the different entry and exits and whatever. So, and we did, and they haven't touched anything besides things that were maybe.
And this is kind of relevant, the stuff that he's talking about too, as far as going into the questions and answers, because there's quite a bit of questions that were asked in this last live that Seth did, pertaining about like what did he witness when he went around the rooms. Obviously, he couldn't answer a lot, but he does go into it a little bit in the last live. And anyway, so this kind of pertains to multiple things.
Moved by TBI or whatever, but TBI did not toss. I've heard people talk about, I guess it's Seth. He said that they like tossed the room. I don't believe that happened at their place. It was just it was typical, like 15-year-old shoes were there, and you're like that. I mean, he's a real person, and all this chaos that's going on around him. But we're talking about a real person.
His answer, we're talking about a real person. It's real. It's a missing child. He's real. Serious. This guy's a joke. So what you see here, also why I paused it, just in case if anybody's wondering, because it's going to be brought, or he mentions it here real soon, is the window sensors and what they are for anybody that may not know what he was referring to.
And in the house, just the house itself, like I could see where,
hey, Jenna,
like where the couch is, so like where Katie could see, like where you could, in other words, when she was talking on the phone, how he exits to go to the, he would have gone to the front door, which is just immediately right there.
So, if you guys recall, this was something I was trying to kind of add in the live, but I just didn't. I was gonna, because this gets brought up in the Q&A, is like how their theories and what they believe happened pertaining to Chris and Katie, how it's kind of evolved or changed, really, But again, remember he wandered out of the house. That was kind of like what they said for quite a while, and told a lot of people, and clearly told Fisher this. But then he's kind of talking about, he's checking their story and whatever, and then he starts talking about Sebastian's bedroom, which he has been, and I kind of cut part of this out because he starts talking about the posters and stuff, and we already kind of listened to that. But here is the important thing.
Window was like, and what sensors and security there was on that.
Oh, what? Can you repeat that one more time? Thank you, Fish Sticks.
What the window was like, and what sensors and security there was on that.
So again, just for anybody that doesn't know, that is window sensors that you put on for burglary. That is purely set up by like a Brinks, ADT. And there he is admitting, probably just not, I'm sure they weren't happy with him releasing that. Let me know what you think in chat, but I think he kind of slipped up, maybe not thinking like, oh, they probably didn't want that information out there that they had this, because let's remind people of what they said on Nancy Grace. But anyway, yeah, that is the window sensors. For anybody doesn't know how it works, it's these two devices. There's one that's on the trim, and then one that's in the frame, or whatever you call this. And obviously, once the sensor cuts, because it knows, it's breaking the connection. And if the security's locked up, overnight, and a window's open, then that triggers the system. And you would only have that if you had, a burglary system or something related to it. Oh, who we got? Whose belated birthday is it? Sorry, I got sidetracked. I saw birthday, but I can't. Do I got live chat on? Oh, I do. Oh, Black Widow. Is it yours? Okay, is that who it is? Sorry if I'm missing one. Anyway, not to get too sidetracked, but oh, Sensei. Okay. Oh, it's your. Okay, Sensei. Okay. Happy belated birthday to you, Sensei, and thank you for everything you've done for me and for the chat. God bless you.
And then he showed me the.
I want to circle back to Sebastian's shoes regarding if anything was missing. Do you have a burglar alarm?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a...
So just one more time for those that are filtering in, we're getting to the Q&A. I just wanted to put this in because this was something that was sent to me in my last live, and I only had the small clip. I didn't have the actual full live, so I wanted to listen to it. Most of it, there's not too much, really interesting stuff that we can use to go back on, but there are some stuff in the beginning. But this, I would say, is the biggest bombshell that I think probably slipped out of Fisher's mouth during this, claiming that they had window sensors and basically referring to Sebastian's bedroom window. And I don't know why you would be mentioning sensors unless they worked. I don't know why you would even bring that up unless he's making that shit up. But I'm pretty sure they would have probably had, if they had a camera system inside and probably outside, I'm sure they probably had some kind of burglar alarm system as well. They had a keypad lock, everything. They had basically everything that a typical, burglary system would have. So
the
I want to circle back to Sebastian's shoes regarding if anything was missing. Do you have a burglar alarm?
No, pause.
No, ma'am.
Do you have a Ring doorbell cam?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Anyway, just wanted to add that in.
Have the two of you taken a polygraph?
He's the gift that keeps on
I'm
giving.
sorry you're having to deal with that.
Okay, so now to the Q&A. And like I said, if you did see it, I do add some stuff in here and there. So context, some things, and then I had kind of a revelation on one thing that we'll get into. I think it's like in the middle of this. Let's see. All right. People are starting to filter in. So one more time, sorry. I know for those that have already been here, already heard this, but you're just coming in. Seth had a recent live, obviously 2 lawsuits that he filed in July, like the 15th and the 20th, Sumner County Sheriff's Office and DCS. I think the DCS one is a slam dunk considering they already have 14 plus cases. I think they are just going to get torn apart. And I think, Seth is going to piggyback off that. And that'll be amazing. That'll give him the opportunity to get some stuff on Sebastian's case. And then hopefully, he doesn't have to win against Sumner County Sheriff's Office because usually most people that file lawsuits against law enforcement, they don't win. But as long as the door's open, if they can get past like a motion to dismiss, again, the lawyer stuff is way out of my wheelhouse, but from my understanding, as long as he can get like into like, I don't know, like the trial phase or whatever, into discovery, as long as he can get into that That's all he needs. That's the win for him. Is if he can get into discovery, that's all he needs. The lawsuit itself, like to actually win, what I forget, each lawsuit, the amount. I know one's like 10 million, something like that. The other one's 15 mil. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat. But yeah, as long as he can actually just get past like the initial not dismiss or whatever, he is golden. So anyway, long story short, Seth did another Q&A. He's been doing these ever since the lawsuits came out. I think it's amazing that he's doing this. There's been some really interesting stuff we have learned. We even did like a kind of a top 3, and I've kind of, because he was doing another one, I actually postponed the video I was putting out because I was curious to see what else he was gonna, we'd learn. And there are definitely some interesting stuff in this live as well. So I broke it down, just the highlights. It's a 2-hour live. It's on his channel. So I'd encourage people after the live to, if you're curious, to go check out the full live. But I broke this down into about 40 minutes. I mean, it'll take us about an hour and a half to get through it. But so here we are. Yeah, 10 and 15. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just can't remember which one goes where. I think the 15 mil is against DCS, right? The higher one's DCS. Either way. But yeah. So yeah, that's all he has to do. Yeah, the actual lawsuit and winning against them is nothing. Like that for him, I guarantee, and I'm sure he's probably said that already. Yeah, as long as they can get into discovery, it'll be a slam dunk. So anyway, let's get started.
Smooshy2285 says, was KP or CP phone moving during the 3-hour call?
I wouldn't know how to answer that question either. That would be something you'd have to,
It's a great
if
question.
Sumner County ever held a press conference, you would ask them.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So See Legal Canada says, why does Chris have all the power? Who does he think he is? Why is SCSO so keen not to solve this?
I have no idea. Maybe he thinks he's He-Man.
I love that question. Who do you think he is? Who do you think you are? That is hilarious. Zoop Blues. Oh, thank you so much for the gifted Mob Crew membership. That is so sweet. God bless. If we get time, I'll try to do a members live tonight. If it goes too long, we'll do one tomorrow. We'll just see how this goes. But thank you so much, Zoop Blues. All right, let me go full screen real quick here.
I have the power.
Who do you think you are? And by chance you do get gifted a Mob Group membership, if you could thank that person, that is very awesome. Help support this channel and give people access to members only content.
If I don't wear pants, then I'm not Chrissy Busy Pants. Oh, did I say that on the live? I mean, I did see the picture of him at the casino, and I mean, he looks like he's been handed a life sentence.
That is interesting. So that is I guess a recent sighting of them. What's more important, searching for your son or blowing money that you could be spending on whatever, billboards, posters, but I guess casinos more important. I wish whatever photo could go around. I don't know if people have seen it or just only sent it to Seth, but I would love to see what they look like, because I'm sure, especially after this lawsuit, I bet the stress is getting high. Karma's coming.
I just don't feel sorry for him.
How long ago was that?
And they look terrible in this. I mean, this is not the best camera, but I mean, they look miserable here. I think just because it was going to be Nancy Grace, I think they knew they were going to be answering some, or being asked some tough questions. But yeah, that is Sounds like Carmen.
I guess
to
that
me.
was last Friday.
Really?
Yeah, while I was doing my live, somebody observed them at
Oh, you're
casino.
right on time.
Understood.
So just on this one, latest sighting, they were at the casino. Now I live in Utah. We don't have we have to go to Nevada or Las Vegas to gamble, or Wendover is actually the closest from where I'm at. So I don't know if they have to go to Kentucky, or if there's places in Tennessee. I'm assuming because Tennessee's got Nashville and all that. I'm assuming there's gambling there. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, I'm sure there's some locals in here. I'm pretty sure Kentucky does, though.
You took a picture of them.
Oh,
Looking
thank
a
you,
little worse for the
Kai.
wear, in your opinion? Sorry.
And yeah, just to remind people, like I said, that is Crispy in a Nissan Altima, approximately 2016-ish. I forget the generation. I don't know if that's 4th generation Nissan Altima. That is not the same sedan that is related to the 3AM car, because it doesn't have the fog lights at the bottom, the separated fog lights from the headlights. But that was Crispy seen earlier this year with a not a new car, a new used car with temporary tags. So, kind of funky that they're driving around. I don't know why he's got that. He has his truck, but I think really that truck just goes wherever the camper goes. And then we've seen him drive the SUV, Katie's SUV. We've seen a couple of them. So kind of interesting. Really, the only time that allegedly the truck is being driven is for the camper, I'm assuming. Lovely Shadow says, thank you so much, Sue. You are an awesome person. Oh, for the gifted. That is awesome. Yeah. Again, thank you to Zoo. And then Kai. Thanks, Chris, for never giving up on Sebastian, as always. Just again, or most likely we'll do a live on Jack and Lily, just because of the mom doing a first time interview since we last saw her literally 15 months ago. And we covered that case for a long time, and then it kind of got stale. But man, that interview is very interesting. So we may cover that tomorrow. It'd be interesting. But anyway, so back to the Q&A. I just thought I'd throw that in there. This goes along with the question. I'll go back on screen here in a second, but this one's very interesting because he talks about where Katie saw and the path that she took. And we'll kind of pause here because I think this one's a really interesting one. But let's play this. I love that. I love that.
I mean,
name.
I don't want to get this wrong, but you did say that when he first went missing, that Katie had driven around the neighborhood with her window up.
Supposedly. There's been video footage of her driving around the neighborhood with the window up. I don't know if that was her that morning or if she was reenacting for America's Most Wanted. I don't know. I do know what I was told. And the only thing
And that is her at 6:20, 6:26. Or no, 6. I'll have to look at the timestamp. 6:36, I think.
The video where she drove through the school parking lot. Windows were up. She wasn't looking left or right. She was looking straight as she drove through and out.
So just pause there. There's more that he gives. And we'll look at the map real quick. But yeah, very interesting. He talks about her being caught on that footage that we've heard about where, and I've got the timeline for people here coming up in a second. But yeah, this is really interesting to hear.
Go back behind the school. She didn't drive around the whole school. She literally pulled in to the front parking lot and then pulled back out and wasn't looking anywhere.
Interesting.
And I think he adds on to it, but yeah, it sounds like this. I don't know if he's. I can't remember if he claimed he was shown this, but he said that at the very least, I think he was told this. Correct me if I'm Chad if he was shown this, but yeah, I mean, we've already heard rumors that she just kind of drove in and drove out, but yep, windows up, not looking around.
I was told by Detective Carter that the reason she wasn't looking anywhere is she was told to go back home. But you're already there. If you're truly looking for somebody that's missing, what's an extra 2 minutes to drive around the school?
And
yeah, let's play this first. Let me go full screen on this, actually. I'll come back on screen. But yeah, this is such a great, it's nice to get a little bit more clarification on this, because this was, in a way, rumored. I mean, I think we knew it had validity to it, because obviously even Katie in The Most Wanted says she drives to the school, but she then gets the notification. But this is where it gets a little interesting. It makes you wonder if she kind of messed up here, and I'll talk about it once I show like the time stamp of each thing that happened from 6 a.m. to 6:36.
I said I can't find Sebastian. He's not in the house.
I got off of work and I had a text message from Sebastian's stepfather.
I said, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but Sebastian is missing.
I headed straight over to their house.
I started driving.
No. This clearly, because it had new temporary tags, Rusty Pipes. This is a great question. Rusty is asking about that clip, which we got from March of this year. And it was as a person was turning in. They were somebody that was doing some research for me, and as they were turning in, they're like, "Oh my God, that's Chris!" Like they just knew from the hat and from the beard and everything. It's a little rough to see. Like, we've done some cleanup on that, but I didn't want to find the actual video where I cleaned it up. I just kind of showed the kind of rough cut of it. But yeah, no, that was clearly a new, not a new vehicle, obviously, but a vehicle that they allegedly just bought, unless they were borrowing it, but it had temporary tags, which usually means typically someone just had bought it. And it was interesting because before that, not to get sidetracked, because there was somebody that was followed by Chris when he was in Katie's SUV prior to that, sometime in like December-ish. And I think there was even another sighting somewhere around in that time as well, with Chris being seen in that Katie's SUV. And so it's just interesting. He's only been seen in an SUV, and then now we see this black Nissan Altima, which I think is like, you know, his new car, try to be undercover, drive around, because, you know, that big truck, obviously that big truck sticks out. But anyway, that's my theory, is trying to kind of lay low. I'm sure could be other things. Zoo Blues, thank you for the $50. I know it's not $50. I think it amounts to about $5 or $10 US. Thank you so much, Zoo Blues, for supporting the channel. God bless you. Okay, back to this interview. Let me back it up just a little bit. I just thought that was a good question. I thought I'd answer that.
He's not in the house.
I got off of work and I had a text message from Sebastian's stepfather.
And I said, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but Sebastian, you're missing.
I headed straight over to their house.
I started driving through the neighborhood. I was panicking. I was looking everywhere. Like, where is he? What?
So in this reenactment, and she did do this, and it's funny because there is, I think, video of her actually doing this that somebody caught. Because a lot of people obviously have cameras now, ever since in this neighborhood, who didn't now have it. And but it's interesting the way she timelines it here, where she makes it seem like she drove the neighborhood first and then went to the school, and then that's when she was told to turn around and go home. But here she almost makes it seem like she even says it. She's like, yeah, I drove through the neighborhood, but if you're going directly from your house straight to the school, does that consider you're driving through the neighborhood? Because, remember when we're seeing her drive up and down Killen, that is after the school. That's why I'm like, I think they kind of screwed up.
Started driving through the neighborhood. I was panicking. I was looking everywhere. Like, where is he? What happened? Did he go with someone? Did someone take him? By the time I pulled into the school, Christopher was already telling me to turn around because the authorities were on their way.
They used helicopters. They used.
So in the timeline here that I've got shown before you guys here, and I'll come on screen here in just a second. So remember, she wakes up sometime between 6 and 6:03, or she wakes up at 6 and then finds that he's missing within minutes. Calls Chris immediately, so we put about 6:05, right? Somewhere around in there. She's seen at approximately 6:20 by the neighbors. And then look at this. Seth gets a text and missed call from Chris Proudfoot at 6:22. And that's about the same time that she leaves to go to the school. Then literally 10 minutes later, that is where we see her driving up and down Killen at 6:32. And then CP allegedly, let's see. Oh, and then, yeah, it's around 6:30. Remember, CP allegedly arrived at work at 6:30, but that was really weird because they wouldn't be starting that early at that time, according to, or let me get this straight. I think he was seen before that, but did he show up there as kind of like a alibi thing? But anyway, I'm trying to think of what Silver's learned, because I do think he allegedly said that he showed up even earlier before that. But anyway, irregardless, then we have dispatch at 6:33, which is interesting. And then we have the "Don't be mad" text by CP to Seth at 7:20, or calls and tells him, "Hey, don't be mad," whatever. And then allegedly Mama Socks was seen around 8:30. Yep, Blue Blues. And that's the thing. So, yeah. You have from the start of the call, you have 15 minutes and 13 minutes, and you could add or take away a few minutes here and there depending on when Chris was specifically called. But yeah, 30 minutes?
It's interesting.
Like, that is just an absurd amount of time. And remember, this was supposed to be faster according to Chris. And then the other thing I just want to add before we move on, let's see if I can enter this in. School. Sometimes it doesn't want to play well when I do this. Anyway, but the drive from obviously the home to the school is only it kind of depends because can be some traffic and it gets worse and worse as it gets closer to when the middle, because there's the middle school, high school, and they each all start, I don't know if it's like 15 minutes to a half an hour apart from each other. So it does start getting a little bit busier and busier as you get closer to 7 a.m. and of course 8 a.m. when they starting school. But yeah, she was only gone 10 minutes there. And then this is the thing. So if she gets the whole notification like, hey, you've got to get back home, right? I don't even understand like her leaving in the first place. I don't even know why you would go straight to the school first without at least, you only have 2 major streets. Why you would not drive up Kellen first, screaming and yelling his name, and then go to the school. Irregardless, I mean, obviously this argument's brought up 1,000 times, but why did if she took her time to drive to the school, why didn't she stop and notify somebody, at the school, like, hey, just found out my son's missing. By chance, have you seen him? And if you haven't, please keep an eye out and let the school staff know. But yeah. I investigates. Welcome. Yeah, in the Facebook neighborhood group, Sebastian being missing, first public notification. I may have a screenshot of that. I think I do. I believe it's the first one. I could be wrong, but I believe I do. Get a chance.
Snooky said, Seth, who verified that the glasses that were found weren't Sebastian's, and did you get to look at them yourself?
So this one's an interesting question. So this is pertains to some glasses that were found. I don't know exactly where. It's around in the neighborhood, from what I understand. I don't know how close to the actual house. I believe it was in the neighborhood. If someone knows more specifics, let me know in chat. But there was a pair of glasses that looked like Sebastian's. That I don't know if Seth's group found. Correct me if I'm wrong, because this is something that I remember hearing, and you know me, ever since I've gotten my hands on like footage, that's kind of like where my bread and butter is. That's kind of like where I focus. I mean, timeline as well, but the glasses I know of, but I don't know all like the specific details. So if anybody wants to share in chat, let me know. But anyway, here's the results of that when he turned those in. This is kind of a huge, it's not shocking, but at the same time, it is disturbing.
I did see them because I'm the one that the person that found them. I made them bag them and then bring them to our where we were at, and I had flagged down a Sumner County.
I investigate. Thank you. Black rimmed eyewear, very specific, which obviously that's what we see him wearing. Was found and seen near the cemetery. And Mama Sock's home area neighborhood. Wait, I'm confused on that. Is it oh, found around the Sox area. Oh, so was there 2 different pairs of glasses found? One by the cemetery and one by Mama Sox's area. Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you guys. Okay, thank you for the clarification. All right, so all Because I think even in this, I mean, maybe it was misspoken. Let me play that back.
Because I'm the one that the person that found them.
Hold on.
Snooki said, Seth, who verified that the glasses that were found weren't Sebastian's, and did you get to look at them yourself?
I did see them.
Okay, different cemetery. Okay, gotcha.
Because I'm the one that the person that found them. I made them bag them, and then bring them to our where we were at, and I had flagged down a Sumner County sheriff and made him wait until they got there, and then he bagged and tagged them. And I don't remember that officer's name, but he was just a patrol officer over there that day. And Detective Carter is the one I called up. I said, hey, what's the results on the glasses? And he was like, what do you mean? What are the results? And I'm like, well, are they his prescription or what?
Yeah, it's kind of pretty big, especially, any resemblance should be taken very seriously.
And he told me that his language and what he said to me told me that they had never done it. So more than likely they just turned around and asked his mother.
That's crazy.
So after they were found, you haven't seen them after that, after they were bagged and...
I think these guys know that they screwed up. I mean, we've mentioned this time and time again. They screwed up royally. I just cannot help but just refer to the John Benet Ramsey case. But they had all this manpower in the beginning and help from different agencies. It wasn't a Christmas, it wasn't a major holiday where, they're understaffed or anything. And they just screwed the pooch by believing the family or, mother and that piece of they're both, yeah. Anyway, believing them and taking them for their word. So it sounds like they took these glasses. He did the right thing by bagging them, not trying to contaminate evidence. So thank you for chat. Found near Mama Socks. That is Crispy's mother, the stepfather's mother, who will be brought up again a couple times, I think, in this Q&A. And yeah, glasses that may look like his. And so they found them, bagged them, sent it to Sumner County. And then I don't know how much longer after, since sending it to him, he went asked Carter about, what has been done with those glasses. And he basically got no kind of answer, which is just absolutely insane.
All right. So Mr. Rooster, hi, Mr. Rooster, said, are there any ties still in California? If so, do you know if it's northern or southern?
I don't either, Sam.
I do know that they still have ties in California, and
so I'm assuming he's speaking to the Proud Feet, which is no surprise. And he gives a little bit interesting answer. I don't think it's too shocking, but it is interesting. And thank you, Kiki. Good to see you. Member for 8 months. Huge supporter. Their cemetery near the old Bower Sox home. Thank you so much again to Kiki and all of you guys corrected me on that, because again, that was something I heard, but just didn't really focus on that particular incident that well.
I would say most of it's south, because it'd be people that were in the military with him.
All right, let's do this one and then take a fiver or whatever you need. Emma Lau, Emmy Lou, 262 says, "Have you ever reached out or spoke to any of the ex-girlfriends or ex-spouses to get a little insight more on CP's behavior and what he could be capable of?"
I think that's an interesting question. Great question again. And thank you, because I know probably there's quite a few of you in here that have asked and had one of your questions asked and answered in these Q&As. And again, great job, everybody, Sebastian's Army, for continuing to help fight for Seth and Sebastian Rogers.
I have. But that was conversations that, you know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It was conversation between me and them. And out of respect to them, you know, did I find some insights, some answers? Yeah, but stay in court.
All right. All that is unseen said, do newer cars know if people are sitting in the passenger seat? Was KP car ever searched or data collected, telematics or whatever it's called?
I know what I was told.
Okay, I'm going to pause it here and thank you to, sorry, I'm multitasking here. Here is where those glasses were found. Shoot, I might have to do this. Actually, you know what? This is on. Let me circle back to that. Let me back up just a second. And again, we almost have 400 people in here. Just one more time. Seth did another Q&A. And so what I've been doing after each of his Q&As has been kind of breaking down kind of like the highlights of it. Again, I still encourage everybody to go to his channel, like, subscribe, show support for Sebastian. And obviously there's more content. But yeah, just kind of breaking down not all the questions and answers, but the ones I think are, in my opinion, the most relevant or, relevant to me. Again, all of them are good questions and answers, right? But anyway, it's just trying to break down some of the highlights and then adding some things where I can to add either some context from what I may have learned, because there are some things that are going to come up here in the next 10, 15 minutes. But yeah. Okay, let me play that again. Actually, I'm going to go full screen so I can quickly pull up these glasses. I'm curious to look at these real quick, so we'll circle back to those real quick.
Searched or data collected, telematics or whatever it's called.
I know what I was told by the detective. The detective said they took dogs into the vehicles. They didn't take dogs into my vehicle.
And nothing came from that.
They didn't do any forensics except for the 3D scan of their house.
Okay, yeah, that's
yeah,
where...
and you said that was because of make sure there wasn't any construction.
Okay, yeah, this is where I want to kind of address some stuff. So I'm going to pause it there because I think there's a little bit of confusion, and I think it's really, really important to make sure we all kind of get on the same page as much as I can help with that. Hutch Court. This Google Maps being so lame. There we go. Okay. Real quick, before we answer that, because I do think there is a little bit of confusion, and I want to address that. But anyway, so here is Sebastian's home neighborhood here. And then if we go east into Gallatin here is the neighborhood of where near Mama Socks lives, right? I think it's Enoch Way. I think they're up over here. And so you have Enoch Way here, and then you have Hutch Court. I think that's Court. CT. And this is, let me see if I can play the video. I don't know if there's any audio that's relevant, or if this is just where. And this comes from Laura from Facebook, who's always posting on Sebastian. Love Lauren. Huge shout out to her. Like, always posting stuff on Twitter. I mean, it seems like, I don't know if it's daily or I know it's nearly weekly. I mean, this one was August 7th of this year. But address where a pair of glasses that looked like Sebastian were found. Guess who was associated with that property? And yes, 241 is in Gallatin. Yeah, we have Danny, I'm assuming Danny Guy. But then we have Mama Socks. You guys remember from a particular group that sent, photos, but I don't know if it's that home or this one, but this is Mama Socks. This is not his truck. This is the neighbor's truck. It looks very close to CP's truck, but there are the rims, and the main thing that sticks out is the mirrors. They're different, but similar. And then I don't know if it has it does. I think that is a fifth wheel attachment. It's tough to. Oh no, that's just a. Never mind. Nope, that's just a toolbox in there. But yeah. So anyway, there's just that. Just to go show where the glasses were found. So now to this, which is a great question, but I want to give some context to it, which I think is very, very important here. The sign. For one, oops. Are we talking about this sign here? Hutch Court. Oh, Danny got. Oh, I see. Yep. Okay, I see his name right there. Yeah. Oh, that is interesting. For those that don't know, Danny Guy is part of on the side of the Bauer Sox family, associated with Crispy. So, thank you for that, Kiki and the others, and of course, Lauren from Facebook and all those. God bless. Okay. All right, now to this question, because I think these are great questions, but I think there is some a little bit of confusion, and I just want to clarify this because this just shows you how important the 3 a.m. lights and car are, and what's going on with that. So let's listen to the question and answer.
Detectives said they took dogs into the vehicles. They didn't take dogs into my vehicle.
And this is a good, interesting, like the fact that they took dogs into the vehicle. That is interesting as well.
I know what I was told by the detective. The detective said they took dogs into the vehicles. They didn't take dogs into my vehicle.
And nothing came from that.
They didn't do any forensics except for the 3D scan of their house.
Okay, so this is where, and no offense to Seth, the 3D scan, they didn't do a 3D scan inside the house. They did a 3D scan outside the house. There's two different things going on and two different types of equipment, completely different from each other. And one agency uses one and another agency uses another. And I'm going to show exactly what each one does, because it's very relevant. And some people may, because I think, and I don't blame Seth, again, with how much he's got going on his plate. He may have just misspoke, kind of combining the two, which is completely, something I would do. But let's just kind of add context to this.
Yeah, and you said that was because of make sure there wasn't any construction or false walls or anything like that.
Correct.
I'm assuming they didn't find anything that you're aware of.
I mean, my personal opinion is if they did it as well as they did the initial, procedures for, a missing child, I wouldn't put a dime on it in a bet.
So is that something that Sumner County brought in? Like they actually have like a team that does that? Or
so this is what she's asking is a great question, because there's two different types of equipment being used and two different, and I'm assuming this probably may happen on 2 different days. It could have happened on the same day. I don't know, but
was that a third party
I don't
contracted? Know. You don't know. Okay.
I don't know.
And I think I do, or I can't say I know 100%, but I'm pretty sure I would have an idea. Okay, so 2 different things happen, and again, and I think they're getting kind of combined. And he kind of said the 3D scan inside the house, and again, I don't blame Seth. He might have just misquoted or misspoken, I should say. So what they did in the house, and I even have the quote from former sheriff here to hear it, but there's a couple of different devices, and we don't know which one was exactly used, but they all kind of do the same thing. Here's one of them. And, and here is Roy, former sheriff.
But like I said, when she called us, we had people go to the house, search the house. We even got thermal imaging to check all the walls.
So right there, you can say he says we. Now, he could have said maybe we as in us and TBI, but I think because this piece of equipment, I didn't see how much. It's nothing, I'm sure, compared to what the 3D scanner is, because that's why I'm trying to bring context to this, because for multiple reasons. But yeah.
I just to make sure that he went and stepped in a wall somewhere.
So again, there's a couple of different devices. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of different devices, but it comes down to something, a device like this, or the 2 devices I showed you before. One that kind of looks like a bigger version of a stud finder that they run along the wall. And then it has kind of like a sonar where it kind of detects, any anomalies. And then there's a little bit more expensive equipment that is thermal imaging. And then that obviously thermal imaging references heat. And they would be able to see if there was any anomaly in the heat. And I did have a example of what it kind of looked like when they look through the wall. It's mainly blue, because there's nothing heat. And then, if there was, say, like a water heater on the other side in another room that's beyond that, then that would obviously light up orange, red, So that's what would have been used in the house. Completely different to the 3D scanner, because I just want to bring context to that, because that is two different equipments likely used from two different departments.
Backyard, and let me tell you now, what you're looking at is a 3D Leica scanner, and this device is rarely to never.
And again, because we have video and some photos, but mainly video of them using that scanner, I was able to run it through ChatGPT on other AI, and that's how we even know it's, because usually Faro's kind of like the name brand that is used in a 3D scanner, but this one was the Leica. It's the same type of equipment, just a different brand.
Ever used in a runaway case. So what were they doing with it and why?
And
the 3D scanner was first commonly used for vehicle accident reconstruction purposes, such as
and I know I've gone over this before, but I just wanted to make sure that people understand that there's two different pieces of equipment being used, one inside the home and one outside, and there's two different reasons. And now this one could have multiple reasons, but the main one, and this is the reason why I wanted to bring this up for context, is because, again, we're talking 5 to like 6 figures for one piece of equipment for a scanner. And only TBI and FBI would have. Sumner County would not have that. And obviously it's TBI that we see using it. And it makes sense now learning that TBI is the one that has all the footage. And again, they would not bring this equipment in for any runaway, and they would have a specific reason. Maybe there may be some secondary reasons, but there would be only one reason they would, there would have to be, something major for them to bring this specific equipment in for a main specific reason. Potentially they could use it for a few other things, but this is clearly brought in for the 3 a.m. video and the lights. And again, we even see in the video here, as they're walking, you see two guys. I think it might be a gal next to him. We see two people with the scanner. They have already done one scanner, and they're in the Proudfoot backyard. And of course, they're heading south, which is starting to head towards the common area. And as you can see, they're literally walking in tandem because they will do 20 paces. They scan it every 50 feet approximately. So you can see they literally, their legs, because they're doing paces right now. Yeah, so it looks like that's a female. But, and that's TBI. And yeah, as you can see, as they're walking in tandem. And then that's Carter. Obviously, it looks like Carter standing there watching them do this. But yeah, they'll move 20 paces, scan, 20 paces again, rinse and repeat. And again, there would have to be a main reason for them to bring this piece of high dollar, high value equipment in that is rarely used in a missing persons case, just with no foul play involved. Just there has to be a reason that they would bring this in. And clearly this was, as Sasha said, and it may be inside job, what you said earlier, but yeah, this was to determine where the lights were approximately. We've gone over this, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but I just wanted to give context that, these are two separate events, two separate pieces of equipment, and in my opinion, one being much more, both are vital to the investigation, but I think, if we ever have a trial for certain individuals or whatever, or even a civil, and Seth gets a hold of the discovery, this will be huge. Oops. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify that because I've noticed the last couple times I feel like those questions, the 3D scanner and thermal imaging of inside the home, get combined. And yeah, and of course I had the question for him. Did TBI ever tell him about it? Like, I wasn't expecting a big answer from Seth. I was just curious if he was even made aware that they did this, or was this kept hush hush, which tells me if they kept it hush hush, tells me that clearly they're keeping that hush hush because, well, they started in the Proudfoot backyard, and then you can see the trajectory that they're going. Self-explanatory.
The 3 a.m. video. This is where it gets really exciting.
TBI. But yet TBI doesn't come and they don't do any press conferences. When they did the one press conference with Sumner County, and when that lady turned around and said nobody was being followed or threatened, it's like, well, I've given you license plate numbers, makes and models of cars that were following my followers, that were my searchers, the people that were helping hand out flyers. I gave this information to them. And this was before they did.
Yeah, and I don't blame Seth again, because we hear, like the Idaho case, Brian Koberger, they did use a 3D scanner inside the home, but obviously they were mapping that out because they were going to tear that house down. So, and of course, I'm sure 3D scanners, especially in homicides that happen inside a home or any building, that is going to be used inside. But yeah, I don't blame Seth. I think that could just be, sometimes the question itself is kind of put together in a way. I've seen that in I don't know, I think the first one he did, or it was like a two-parter, and I think maybe it got kind of combined together. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure, people understood the difference between those. And I do believe that Sumner County, because Roy says, like, we brought that in. So I do think, and that piece of equipment, that thermal imaging would not be, I'm sure that equipment's expensive, but nothing like the 6-figure 3D scanner that's being used.
This was before they held their one press conference. And when she came out and stated that, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe. I just couldn't believe that she sat there and discredited the people that were being scared from handing out flyers. I mean, people were threatening people who were just handing out flyers.
That's ridiculous.
To me, I was like, how can, I didn't understand how, and I don't understand how a law enforcement agency is not trying to protect the people in their community.
Yeah. I would think that'd be very serious. You've got people that, most of these people work and are doing it on either their day off or maybe taking a day off from work to go out and help Seth. Yes, you have the agencies that are kind of more full-time where they do this, right? Nonprofit agencies, but still, you got a bunch of volunteers coming in, and, it's one thing if maybe there's one threat, but you're getting multiple threats. Like, again, that is just absurd and unheard of.
I don't understand how, an elected official doesn't care about what their constituents think.
Definitely.
Okay. Before we move on to the next one, because when I was listening to that short little clip that was released from Chloe, I believe, or Heather, one of the two, or both, with Roy, there's something he said in there that kind of hit me like a ton of brick. And so I kind of wanted to add this in because I came across it and get your guys' thoughts on this. So, and it does pertain to something that gets asked as well here in just a minute. Amber, I really haven't, because for those that don't know, I'm not sure how much you know Amber. Keep in mind, Dog the Bounty Hunter, I know his name's kind of attached to this case, has been for quite a while. Keep in mind, like, Dog himself, like, you know, his age, I don't know how old he is, but, you know, he's retired. I know his sons are still out there doing stuff. Keep in mind that they were kind of using his name, you know, like a brand, right? And yes, he has a team of PIs and stuff that do work for him, and they worked on a case. The one I can think of is one here in Utah. And gosh, I always forget the poor lady's names, but it happened around the same time as the Guy Petito, but where two girls were murdered camping. And anyway, his team went out and did that, not himself. He didn't go out, he just had a team. So anyway, long story short, there was basically at night kind of running and using his name, and I'm obviously they'd have to get permission. And again, I don't know all the inside details. Again, I'm just kind of speaking from a little bit of stuff I know, but I think, in my opinion, they did not, I don't know, it's the right word, try not to be too harsh. I don't think they took what they were doing seriously, whoever was kind of running at night and having the backing of Dog the Bounty Hunter's name. And sadly, they just didn't take it seriously enough, or maybe they did for a point, and then I think they just ran at night's name and Dog's name into the ground, was really Dog probably not having much to say in it at all, right? So, yeah. So anyway, long story short, when it comes to at night and Dog the Bounty Hunter, I have no blame towards them, or towards Dog, I mean. And the blame goes towards those that were allowed to, you know, use his brand, and I think they just botched it hard. Sadly. And they did other stuff, but not to get sidetracked, but just to kind of touch on that.
And how, you know.
Oh, so anyway, like I said, and that was a good question, fair question, I would say. But yeah, Dog doesn't, you know, again, his age, he's not out there running around investigating. I think the last time we saw him do something was the Guy Petito. And yeah, could that have been a little bit of promoting? But again, he does have a team of people. But yeah, I don't know. So back to the night, Texas Roadhouse, and when they came home and the garbage person taking out the garbage. And there's something that Roy said in that interview that I'm like, holy shit. That's interesting. So let me play this. First, it's going to be the quote of Katie and Chris.
Mistake.
Definitely.
And we went home straight from Texas Roadhouse. And we were home for approximately 15 minutes before he took the trash out. And he is on video, and the FBI was.
He comes out and takes the trash to the end of the road, to the end of the driveway, and we see him.
So I know it's a little hard to see. Obviously, you've got subtitles, but here is Roy. Now listen to the timeline of events that he puts together, and then I want to pose a question to you guys, because this is something that, boy, I would love to know the timeline of when they exactly got home. What was the time that he took out the trash, or someone allegedly took out the trash can. And then what happened shortly right after that? So let's listen to what he says.
Approximately 15 minutes before he took the trash out. And he is on video, and the FBI was.
He comes out and takes the trash to the end of the road, at the end of the driveway. And we see him go back in the house, turn on some lights in his bedroom.
Okay. So it goes pretty fast. So according to Roy, and again, I'm sure he's just getting this from his team, but in timeline succession, we have somebody taking out the garbage can, right? And then listen to what happens directly after that.
He comes out and takes the trash to the end of the road, at the end of the driveway. And we see him go back in the house, turn on some lights in his bedroom.
So, and that makes so much sense to me. So what they see on the surveillance, according to what I'm understanding, is they see somebody take out the trash can, that person go in the home, and right after that, Sebastian's bedroom light turns on. Now, maybe some of you guys are seeing where I'm going with this. Let me give you a little bit more, and I'll pose a question here.
That's it.
That was from a neighboring camera, I'm assuming.
Did he stay home a lot while KP and CP worked from Tessa Tassa?
He got off of school at 3 o'clock, and there was times that she didn't come home until after 7 or 8.
Oh, did I?
And Chris wasn't there because Chris was gone working.
Oh, I thought I added something in this. Okay. Let me play this part from Katie. Now, and then just think about this. Okay, so I guess I should have played this after her thing. Yeah, this kind of out of order. I should have rearranged this.
Definitely.
And we went home straight from Texas Roadhouse. And we were home.
So they went home straight from Texas Roadhouse. I love how she says straight home, right? I do think there was some kind of handoff in between that. And Sebastian didn't make it home, in my opinion. But listen to what she says right after they get home.
For approximately 15 minutes.
So they're home 15 minutes, allegedly, right? And
before he took the trash out.
He takes the trash out, and then his light immediately goes on. Now, here's my question. Oh. Someone's already kind of getting to it. Why? If he had been home for 15 minutes, and so I know there's a lot of mothers, grandmothers in here, parents just in general. You just gotten home from dinner, and you got a teenager. He's been home for 15 minutes. So again, you're coming home. You're not coming home to make dinner or anything. I could see maybe going to use the bathroom. But what do you think that child would probably do? Again, I'm not a parent, but I'm just kind of, thinking about how this, because again, the scenario of her doing this makes so much more sense of what we see, allegedly. Don't you think he would have gone to his bedroom and kicked on his light? Let me know in the chat if I'm stretching here. Vicky, thank you. Yeah, let me know in chat. Don't you think if you just came home from dinner, it's been a long day, right? He's been doing all this stuff, right? Maybe he first goes use the restroom because he didn't want. Oh, no, he used the restroom at Texas Roadhouse. Doesn't mean he wouldn't have to use it, but at the very least, 15 minutes. Wouldn't he have gone to his bedroom and kicked on his light? You guys see where I'm going with this? Assuming allegedly that he never made it home and the mother is acting like Sebastian. So she gets home without Sebastian, pulls in the driveway. Obviously, So the cameras can't see who gets out of the vehicle because she's in the garage. Gets set up in, a hoodie. I mean, she's already in dark clothing. And then goes to pretend to be Sebastian running the garbage can out, or walking the garbage can out, and then running to mimic his mannerisms. And then, according to Roy, what happens right after he takes out the trash, or that person takes out the trash, his light turns on. And wouldn't that be the best thing to make it look like it's Sebastian? Is the trash can gets taken out, that person goes in, and his bedroom light comes on. You guys see where I'm going with this? And if they had already been home for 15 minutes before that, I mean, not to say they, all children are going to go straight to the bedroom after a long day, but I just think that it is just a little too coincidental, if you guys see what I mean. Yeah, someone agreeing. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, thank you, Miriam. A lot of people, hey, he's been away from his devices. Yeah, his Switch is in the bedroom. And, it's his bedroom. A teenager, I would just think, and it seems like clearly a long day. He's been with his mother his entire time. I'm sure he probably wanted to go, do something before he was allegedly told to go take out the trash. But, yeah. So I just thought I'd add that in. It's been a minute since I heard that interview from Roy, that short little clip that was released, and I just thought it was interesting the way he just puts those two together. So just one more time, and then we'll move on. But
and we see him go back in the house, turn on some lights in his bedroom. That's it.
That was from a neighboring camera, I'm assuming.
Did he stay home a lot while KP and CP worked from Tessa Tassa?
He got off of school at 3 o'clock, and there was times that she didn't come home until after 7 or 8.
Okay, so moving on, but I just thought I'd add that in because I just thought, man, because that would be clever to make it look like, okay, that's supposed to be Sebastian, and then this person goes inside, and then just immediately the light kicks on, Anyway, I digress. Yeah, because I think he would have gone back to his, I think for 15 minutes. That's a long time, 15 minutes. Right? Again, you could discount 5 minutes to go to the bathroom or whatever, but, he's been with his mother this entire time. That does not probably been happy, and probably needs to, do what teenagers do, go to the room.
From a neighboring camera, I'm assuming.
So anyway, moving on.
Did he stay home a lot while KP and CP worked from?
Well, he was left wearing, when we last saw him, obviously, would be the black Yoda t-shirt, right? Grogu, was it the Grogu? It was the black shirt with the logo, or not logo, but print. And then he had jeans, black sneakers that looked exactly like Katie's, literally like this could have been probably the same brand. Maybe they bought the shoes at the same time. Bought the same kind of pair, whatever. But yeah, he was seen in jeans and a black t-shirt. And then, yeah. But anyway, we have nearly 400 people in here, and thank you so much to everybody being in here. We're about halfway through. Again, we're just going over the last Q&A that Seth did and just kind of breaking down the highlights, and then there's some things I add some context to, or some visuals to, wherever I can, just to put my spin on it. And then huge shout out to Justine. Sadly, I have not heard. I don't follow really many other content creators, just because that's just something how I've always operated. So it's no offense to any other content creators. It's just I always did that a lot in the beginning, just because I didn't want to watch somebody and then copy something that somebody did, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's continue. I'm going to try to read chat as we go here. Yeah. Okay.
Tessa.
He got off of school at 3 o'clock, and there was times that she didn't come home until after 7 or 8. And Chris wasn't there because Chris was gone working. So yeah, he stayed at the house a lot by himself.
Shoot. Sorry, I was reading chat. I forgot to, because I wanted to address this a little bit. I can't answer, but I can give a little bit of more context to this.
KP and CP worked from Tessa.
He got off of school at 3 o'clock, and there was times that she didn't come home until after 7 or 8. And Chris wasn't there because Chris was gone working.
Yeah, that's a little.
So yeah, he stayed at the house a lot by himself.
All right, Tessa again. Did the neighbor behind KP ever supply any footage?
So obviously, we're speaking about the Carr family, or Mr. Carley, who, in my opinion, I know Seth, he gets asked this about who, besides Chris and Katie, who would be kind of on his radar as like the third person. My opinion, next to Chris and Katie would be this guy. This is the guy that freaked out at the vigil. This is the so-called rent-a-cop. He was never really a full actual cop. He didn't pass he failed his gun training. And yeah, was just a reserve officer for a very short time. But his camera caught some very interesting stuff. And so anyway, he was asked, do you know if the footage that he had was turned over? And I can tell you, yes, it was turned over. At least according to them. And I think it would have by now, because yeah, that would not look good on them, especially after what Fish Sticks tried to do with this. But anyway, this is a screenshot from that camera. This is the backyard of Proudfoots, but it's what was captured between this and this. And yes, they did. I heard FBI, but probably TBI as well. Oh, and I did want to add one more thing, because I think, one of the other things we learned was that TBI had kind of all the footage. And I thought that was so ridiculous. And I was kind of curious, is that normal in cases to have like Sumner County be the lead, yet another agency like TBI have like other evidence, or a good portion of like the forensic evidence, such as the video surveillance? And yeah, so apparently that is common. And typically, and my question, many questions would be, well, what if a tip came into Sumner County about something that was related to the surveillance, right? Well, then Brandon Carter would have to then go ask, because it comes down to chain of custody. There's a bunch of different reasons. But yes, he would then have to call up TBI and go, hey, I've got a tip on this. I need this particular footage, a copy of, whatever between these hours and this date. But then this all falls back to, well, we know how much Brandon Carter's been such a great help to this investigation that we're already, at a stalemate where he's not doing anything, allegedly. And yeah.
Say that again.
Did the neighbor behind KP ever supply any footage?
No idea.
But yes, this was allegedly turned over to the FBI and hopefully TBI. I'd assume TBI would have gotten a hold of it.
Hunter's mom. I don't know if this has been asked, but are you 100% sure that he made it into the house that night with Katie?
I don't know if he made it into the house or not. When I asked for proof of life, which really upset, Mr. CP, I was shown Texas Roadhouse.
That there was proof of life.
He knew there was proof of life prior to that. He started some shit. It caused the fucking stir. It caused the meeting. They showed him.
All because he wants to see proof of life. And they flip out. I know this is kind of old and people have probably asked this 1,000 times, but just because it was asked again and he answered, I thought I'd just bring this clip up because this is kind of what he's referring to. And it's just ridiculous that, of course, you'd want to know proof of life under suspicious circumstances of him going missing.
Texas Roadhouse.
That there was proof of life.
He knew there was proof of life prior to that. He started some shit. It caused the fucking stir. It caused the meeting. They showed him a video. Texas Roadhouse. They showed when they walked out of Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
He had seen a video of Sebastian at the fucking house Sunday night, taking the fucking trash out.
Right.
Yeah, one of the things, not to get sidetracked, Banana, or Bama, I'm sorry. Why I said banana. From Bama. ADHD and autistic. Yeah, I had an autistic cousin, older cousin. And again, obviously each case is different. Each person with that, depending on the spectrum and everything. One thing that is pretty common, shared across a lot of autistic people, is like routine and my cousin always, when it came to eating, like when it was dinner time, he would always notify the family, it's this time. Routine. Very picky on certain things, and that never swayed ever. And I think that is something that's pretty common through, like you said, when it comes to autistic. And yeah.
From inside, Michael?
Yeah.
Yes. Are you talking about Chris and Katie? Yes. They were seen, if you missed early, Bama, they were actually spotted at a casino. I don't know if that was in Kentucky or if there's casinos in Tennessee or Nashville or whatever, but yes. So maybe one of these days they'll start the search for Sebastian, but I guess it's more important to them to blow money on, casinos than, using that money to put flyers up or, whatever to help for Sebastian.
Gonna sneeze. No, I'm not gonna sneeze. Tessa said, did Ellie investigate digital logs from the keypad lock?
I have no idea. I know that there's a video around here where somebody said that they had a conversation with them and stated that they were going to want access to the keypad and everything else. And that was the last time they ever talked to the Proudfoots.
Yeah, just be careful, Sasha, on what you bring up, because none of my mods want to block or, delete any comments. Just try to be careful on where you go in the chat, in the comments, because you're always here supporting Sebastian. And I know feelings, we get frustrated, but I just ask, please make it easy for my mods, because they don't want to, block anybody. But obviously it's in reference to the keypad lock, which again we've gone over multiple times. And let me play that last part.
There's a video around here where somebody said that they had a conversation with them and stated that they were going to want access to the keypad and everything else, and that was the last time they ever talked to the Proudfoots.
And so I tried to be vague on it, but I think it's already been put out. I don't know who put it out, but so no secret now, but that was the Cajun Navy, obviously, who were helping out in the Riley Strain case, and then Sebastian Rogers went missing just as they were kind of, Strain was found, and then of course, any of these agencies that volunteer, whether it's on the water, on land, whatever, they're going to do the same thing a PI would do. They need to get a timeline. They need to get an idea of what is the best options to search. They're just not going to come in and start searching blindly, in any particular area. They need to kind of understand, and then definitely I'm sure they need to kind of get an understanding of the parents, and if there is any kind of funky business, because again, they're, these are nonprofit organizations coming in, and so they start doing the same things that kind of like a PI would do. And so long story short, it gets down to them, being in contact with Katie. And then allegedly one of the last conversations with them was about the keypad lock that I'm sure they learned through however. And once they asked about the logs, Katie ghosted them. And that pretty much tells you all you need to know. Yeah, not to get it into, because I don't, but yeah, make it easy on set. Say again, the autism. If anybody's like dismissing it again, because I can't read every comment. We've seen in the lawsuit what he was diagnosed with. If I had a second, I'd pull it up. But yeah, he is diagnosed. If I get a chance, I'll pull it up. But yeah. Lana, that's such a good question. We don't know, but I did find the trash bag. It wasn't sitting next to Katie's trash bin. It was sitting next to the neighbor's, and we could see it sitting there. And again, this did happen. That trash bag was heavy. And again, did it come from Katie and she put it next to the neighbor's trash bin? With all the other funky red flags, it would not surprise me at all. And at the same time, were they getting rid of their video evidence? Because, again, not to get too sidetracked, but we know the landfill search happened. Now, from what I understand, is that because they had the construction site next door, and they had all those industrial bins that they didn't want to take a risk that potentially he fell into one of those. And then that got dumped. So that could have been the primary reason. That's why, because again, they have to get a search warrant. They have to have probable cause to go do something like that. But there could have been secondary and, third reasons as to why they were out there doing landfill search. And, we heard from one of the dog experts claim that they believe they could have had the electronic sniffing dogs out there, which could be related to maybe, the video equipment that they had set up. Clearly they would have had a NVR, DVR system, 5 to 7 cameras set up that people get from, Costco, whatever, Sam's Club. That was clearly installed and there in the house, and then all of a sudden, they upgraded in between him going missing. We investigate, go dogs. I'm not sure who that refers to, but thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that. Bam. Oh, it is my pleasure. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, please make it easy on Sensei, Sasha. We're all on the same team here. We can all be adults, agree to disagree on that. And I get your passion, Sasha, about the child. I think, everybody's going to feel differently. And again, I can't speak on that because I'm not a parent. And yeah. One thing about the keypad lock that I've mentioned time and time again is the reason why it's important is because if we go back and listen to Sweetie Pilo's interview with the neighbor across the street, said that door was opened. Now, she doesn't specify what door, but you can only really see one door, which would have been the front door, and it would have made sense for her to just leave it open as she went out, allegedly met up with subject 2, and then the car, and then came back, because that would have happened within a 3 to 4 minute window. And that would have also, because I think she would have probably at the very least known that they would have seen that data. And I think that's why, in my opinion, why they tried to run with that scenario that he walked out of the house. That's why she just, in my opinion, why Katie goes, I don't know why he walked out. As she was like so sure that he just walked out and, walked out the front door, not crawled out the window, not snuck through the garage door, not snuck through the backyard, walked out the front door. And it would look like, he opened the door and maybe hesitated, whatever, for a few minutes, because it would have logged like, hey, it opened at 3:03 a.m. and then it shut at 3:07 a.m., give or take, or whatever. But it would have logged as one open, one close. Whereas if she would have walked out, opened and shut the door, went and did whatever, whether she had Sebastian or not, whether you believe he made it home or not, and then came back, and then came through the front door again and opened and shut it, I think that would have made, both would have raised red flags, but if it showed just one open and close, that could look like he hesitated and maybe he was trying to grab it, like maybe he was walking outside, like contemplate, maybe look for his shoes, whatever. But if it logged as 2 open shut doors, then that would have looked like, well, somebody came out and then somebody came back in, right? Or that would have been 2 people coming out and never coming back in. That would have made no sense. So anyway, moving on.
Unless I'm gonna cook them for dinner.
Did the bowling alley where they
Was the white van in the driveway that night? Yes. You can actually see it. Yeah, it was parked beyond, right in the back of the corner. Yeah, the van was there, in the driveway.
asked for any footage or anything?
I have the footage that was there. I spoke to the owner and he gave me what little footage was.
Anything stand out to you?
Just Sebastian. Hands in his pockets, shoulders slung forward. He was not having a good day. He was not happy to be there.
So just question from
Oh, so this is you, Justine, right here? Okay, so all right, pretty little clues as I miss. Thank you for doing what you did. I was kind of putting that together, but again, multitasking here. Oh, PLC. Okay, now now it's all put together here. Gotcha. Justine. Yeah, Justin. Now I would make that mistake. I am dyslexic, so don't be surprised if I ever do that in the future or somebody else's, because dyslexic mind. Yeah. But anyway, this is awesome that you did this. And yeah, sorry, there was something else I was going to say, but something in chat I was going to point out. But
my own curiosity. In your opinion, you've kind of heard the stories, you've seen the interviews of them and everything that they've said, and obviously you've had interactions with law enforcement.
And please, I know there's been a little bit of debacle. Please, my mods, Sensei, because it looks like, sometimes, usually I have 2 mods, but because it's the weekend, sometimes other mods are out doing stuff. So please show love and support for Sensei. It's not easy being a mod. They don't get paid. I think a lot of you know this. And they got to be kind of a referee, and I do not envy them at all. And so please just kind of, keep in mind that they're trying to, be a ref and keep the comments, that are keep on track of what we're talking about. And, nobody's perfect and nobody, has all the right things to, what comment to delete or what, how to ref, right?
Etc. Whose story do you think, I'm going to say it's kind of a 2-parter. Whose story do you think has changed or fluctuated the most?
Theirs.
In your opinion?
Thank you, Sasha.
Both of them?
Theirs. Theirs.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And this is no surprise. So again, whose story has changed the most? And this is the one where I wish I had a little bit more time, because I was going to kind of add in, because I think one of the most shocking ones for me is Chris from, I forget the people. Oh, they're so sweet. The couple, the former detective, I think he was former detective, that went out searching, and they had like a phone call with Chris, and I think September, October of the first year. And that's where, like, we got this out of the blue, Chris saying, oh, I think he got into a car and even had like, I think he went west or whatever, and then talked about license plate readers, and very just like complete 180 from just like, oh, well, he wandered off, or having their stupid fish sticks talk about, oh, well, he went to the construction site, you know. But yeah, great question, and not too surprised on the answer.
In your opinion, you know, you've kind of heard the stories, you've seen the interviews of them and everything that they've said, and obviously you've had interactions with law enforcement and etc. Whose story do you think, I'm going to say it's kind of a two-parter, whose story do you think has changed or fluctuated the most?
Theirs.
In your opinion? Both of them?
Theirs. Theirs.
Okay.
I mean, they're married.
Thank you guys for showing love to my sensei and to all my mods. Again, it's not easy, and it happens. You know, people just, you know, agree to disagree.
Right.
Not all gonna agree on every topic, right?
Understood.
Theirs.
And if anyone involved had the most information other than them, obviously, or her, who do you think would be holding back the most information? Like, who do you think has information other than those two that could provide any sort of insight, in your opinion?
His mama.
His mom.
Yeah, great question, Justine. I think that it was a great. I'm a little surprised you answered that. Really great quick question. I don't think has been asked. I mean, it probably has been maybe put in a comment. I'm sure, you know, everybody that's followed this case. But yeah, I don't know if that was on the fly or not, but that was, and I'm really a little surprised that he answered that as well. Because again, my personal number, you know, next to Chris Katie is the neighbor behind, for so many reasons. I personally think he is the second person carrying the flashlight, just based on everything that I've researched.
Theirs.
And if anyone involved had the most information other than them, obviously, or her, who do you think would be holding back the most information? Like, who do you think has information other than those two that could provide any sort of insight, in your opinion?
It was a great job.
His mama.
His mama.
His mama.
Don't you dare talk about his mama and his truck. Don't talk about his mama or his truck. And I have a picture of his mama. I have a couple of them, of course. I wanted to throw it up, but I just couldn't find it in time. But very interesting, because, you know, obviously he probably knows more. Well, next to law enforcement, he would know more than anybody else next to his lawyer, him and his lawyer, and then of course law enforcement, and then Chris and Katie. But yeah, I find that very interesting. I think that shows that he's got, just in my opinion, that shows that he probably got maybe some tips about, you know, we know that there's a sighting of her at the off Shekel Island. I always forget the damn store's name. But yeah. He's sitting there tapping his fingers.
Because, as Chris said, no, I didn't. You know, even though he was adamant that I knew where his mom was on Sunday, I did not know where his mother was any day, except for the day she came back, which was the week before Easter. And that's because they drove by where we were searching.
And so, as far as her whereabouts, then, if we're talking about his mom, shifty behavior, moving counties, moving states, anything weird there?
I have no idea. People really don't pay attention to her.
Worsham. I don't know why I always like I can picture it, but it's just such a weird, and it should stick out to me. It should be just burnt in my head. But yeah, two different people seeing the sighting of Kathy. I forget exactly the time. Sometime a little after 6 a.m. You know, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I think it was around 6 something, like 6:30 ish. Some people think that the whole drive into the school was kind of a ruse to meet with Kathy and trade Sebastian off to Kathy there. I personally, in the beginning, I kind of thought that. But now, as time gone on, I don't think he ever made it home. I definitely do think Mama sucks. Definitely, especially if he says that she's on his radar.
In the community, they should be. Because she is the head of that clan.
Thank you, Seth.
So, in your opinion, or in your mind, other than where is my son? Because obviously that has to be the biggest question in the forefront of your mind, and anybody that has anything to do with this case is, where is Sebastian? What other question would you ask anybody involved, and what would it be? Like, who would you ask, and what would that question be? You can't ask where he is, because I already know that's the one that you want to ask.
I would ask them questions on why they lied.
Yeah, I think they said that they.
Why did they lie?
I think we have like 2 more questions that I picked from this live.
I would ask them questions on why they lied. Why did they lie?
Now I forget. Is this in reference to law enforcement? Maybe I missed some context here. Justine, if you're still in the chat, am I missing context?
Some questions on why they lied.
Involved, and what would it be? Like, who would you ask, and what would that question be? You can't ask where he is, because I already know that's the one that
Was
you
he
want
talking
to
about
ask.
prop hoods?
I would ask them questions on why they lied.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we know both lied, but
why did they lie?
In what regard?
yeah, that does. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Why
Now
did
that-
you lie to the DCS worker?
Okay, that is more specific to, assuming the profits, because this is where he goes into the uncle, right? I think.
Because your name's mentioned in there. So why did you lie? Why'd you tell him that you're just a friend of the family? Why didn't you tell him that, you're Chris's uncle?
Can somebody put Chris's uncle's initials, if we know the name?
Why did you lie?
That one.
They sure will.
The end with Guy.
So, SI officer again says, was there any repairs happening at the house that you noticed? Did you see the attic office room above the garage? Who was all there that morning?
Okay, yeah, I think there's just a couple more. And again, thank you to everybody being in here. Okay, yeah, guy. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that I just
In the home. You want me to break it apart? There were a lot of questions there.
There was a lot of questions there. Yes, there
Okay.
was.
Any repairs happening that you noticed?
Not that I know of.
Did you see the attic office room?
I was up there in the attic. Well, not in the attic, but the room above the garage, which is the access for the attic. And I watched 2 officers go in there and look around twice. And there was a lot of people there, and I don't feel like going over who all was there.
And then the other one was, did you see the room above the garage? But you said, right, that's where...
That's the same room. It's just the ranch style. It's just the one extra bedroom above.
You were officially questioned in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Okay. And nothing of note that really stuck out to you in that home?
Not there. I mean, I'd never been in the room before. I mean, I try not to go in their house. You ever walk into somebody's house, like your ex's house, and it's just like, I'd rather be in my truck with my son leaving because I don't even want to be in here.
Yeah. All right, Spirit Secret.
Let's see. Oh, that is interesting, Zoo Blues. Yeah. That was a good question. Did they ever search the camper? Yeah, that was a good question.
Squad said, wasn't the house professionally cleaned shortly after, or am I thinking wrong?
I heard the rumor too, but I wouldn't know if it's true or not.
I think this question comes up again, but not after, but when he arrived.
Be interesting to know. Tessa said, did they check their search history? Did they check the digital logs of the keypad lock? I think you already said about the keypad lock, but what about their search history?
I don't know what they did. I mean, I know that they supposedly I know that they took all of our phones. They gave all of our
Supposedly, now, if I recall in one of Seth's prior lives that they allegedly took their phones a few weeks later. Now, maybe he heard that from somebody else, so maybe he was just kind of saying that's what he heard. I can't remember. I just remember the 2 weeks later, something like that. They were kind of looking at him, taking his electronics, and then eventually got to their electronics. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he reference that he believed that they may have not taken all of their devices because they have multiple phones, Chris and Katie, allegedly.
phones back.
Which is sus if true.
Other than that, I don't know what electronics or anything that they took from there. I know what they took from my house.
All right. SI officer, did you happen to notice in any of the rooms? Did you happen to notice in any of the rooms anywhere within the house? If you got to see every room, did you notice any repairs that were being worked on?
Already answered that one. I didn't see any in the except for the room above the garage and Sebastian's room, the living room, and the dining room. That's where I pretty much was.
All righty. Lisa B always. Hi, Lisa B, if you're here. Did it smell like cleaners in the Stafford Street house?
Which is Sebastian's home.
I'm not allowed to answer that question.
Not allowed to answer that question. And there's been rumors about it smelled like it'd been cleaned. Like that's been rumored many, many times before.
All right.
Let's see. Okay, just a couple of things, and we'll finish up. And thank you to, I think it was Michelle, sent me a Venmo. I really, really appreciate that. Always will continue to cover Sebastian, even though switching over to other cases. But I'm so happy that he's doing these Q&As. I think it really helps to kind of keep his name out there, and I think it's great because obviously until things get going with the lawsuits, we have November 12th when the first meeting happens, and still, as far as I know, as far as today goes, there's still been zero response from either defendants, basically Sumner County and DCS. I think the one thing that, again, remember that when it comes to the law stuff, that is not really my wheelhouse, but the thing that ChatGPT kind of mentions is to look for, at least on the Sumner County side, is a motion to dismiss, right? But as we mentioned in the earlier part of this live, it's not about winning the actual trial or civil case against Sumner County. It's just getting the door open if they can get into discovery, as long as the case isn't shut out from the beginning. Hey, Cooper. Kind of late, but I'll recap some of the stuff that we went over. But good to see you, Cooper. I appreciate you and all the members and the support, and of course everybody in here in general. But oh, that kind of kicked me back up. Sorry, Cooper. That was a little bit ago. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, when it comes to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, as long as he can get the door open and get into discovery, that is huge win for him. To me, that'll be game over. So, the DCS case to me should be a slam dunk because of everything else going on. Hey, Poppy Love, good to see you. Oh, sorry, trying to get that. All right, just a couple of things, and then I'll just briefly recap everything that we went over if you came in late. No, there's no. I think that DCS and Tennessee, they are clearly, with the other cases, that that such a great timing for Seth to get his lawsuit in, because there's already a huge thing that they're going to be torn up to pieces, internal investigations, etc. That and I'm sure that alone will open up some stuff into some discovery on behalf of the Sumner County, but it's the Sumner County that would be absolutely crucial, I'm sure, to, if as long as it's not dismissed. One thing I just wanted to mention, and this kind of piggybacks on the second Q&A, I guess it would be Q&A before this one, where he had the big panel on. And I think in that, where he mentioned that, when he saw Sebastian's bedroom, it was, a typical teenager's bedroom, a little dirty, things strung out, right? And that could be from Katie allegedly, searching the bedroom and stuff. But anyway, if you guys remember the FBI thing that came out, just over, so it'd have been nearly a year and a half into his disappearance, right? And we got this FBI thing, which led to them with the two rumors, the flashlight theory. Anyway, I just wanted to bring this up because when I read through this and go back through this, even though it was released by the FBI, most of this is quoted by Brandon Carter, our favorite detective on the case from Sumner County. And even though FBI put this out, I really think this was really just sent from Brandon Carter to the FBI for them to post on their page here, in my opinion. Which pisses me off for two reasons. One is that they're still doubling down on this stupid flashlight theory, it being a garbage truck. All this time later. I mean, I could be wrong, but it would not surprise me if they're still doubling, tripling down on this garbage truck theory, which they're going to die on this hill. And then maybe they'll throw a TBI under the bus because they're the ones that have the footage and go, oh, well, TBI is the one that told us this. We were just going off what TBI told us. The other thing I wanted to mention is the flashlight, the yellow flashlight. I've brought this up many times before. But, quote, Sebastian did not take any clues, shoes, money, food, cell phone, said Carter. The cell phone and cash were both laying on the dining room table where they had been the day before when he went to bed. According to Katie, there was a small yellow flashlight that he thinks was missing. That was the only thing that appeared to be gone from the home. And we know that she posted something, I think it was from her sister, within 24 hours. Well, I believe it was Melissa Proudfoot, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, where she had said as much that she believed, I forget the exact quote, we've seen the leaked Facebook message, but brings up the yellow flashlight. And I just think, still to this day, how the fuck does she know, pardon my language, out of all the things that were missing was this small yellow keychain flashlight within 24 hours that she thinks was missing. She doesn't know, and that's the other thing. She thinks was missing. And then, of course, we have the flashlights. Again, my theory after all this time is they tried to make it look like he walked out of the house with the flashlight. She didn't at the time know that that flashlight wasn't working, thanks to Seth releasing that info later on that no, that flashlight was not working anymore. He burnt it out by, using it as a fidget toy. And trying to make it look like someone lured him. He came out of the home and then lured him to that 3 a.m. car and left. Right, Susan. Yeah. And I think that kind of blew up in Katie's face. But anyway, I just wanted to pull that up, and I was just reading that over again today, and I'm just like, and of course, most of this is quoted, most of this article is quotes from Carter, so it just makes me wonder, even though this is like the FBI, and there are obviously, between the quotes, there are certain timelines and stuff put in it. But the fact that they still double down on this stupid flashlight theory and more importantly, the garbage truck, it just, and with how Brandon Carter in Sumner County works, it really makes me think this is really just an article from Brandon Carter. It's just on the FBI webpage. That makes sense. No, that Zoo Blues, that was day 2. It would take me some time to find that. But there's a Melissa Proudfoot, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, that's dated the 20s, dated the, so he's 26. I'm pretty sure it was dated the 27th. It was like day 2. It was 2 days at tops, 48 hours at tops. That she was missing, that yellow flashlight was mentioned. What makes me so just blows my mind is you look at cases that are still to this day, I mean, obviously, continue. Cases are getting, cold cases that are like 30, 40 years old are getting solved with, compared to this case, like zilch evidence, because obviously 40 years ago, DNA and all the stuff that they would have, the way that they, do crime scenes or whatever, the way they collect evidence has changed so drastically because of all the improvements in all the different areas. Anyway, it just blows my mind the mountain of forensic evidence that they cannot at least arrest persons of interest. It just blows my mind. Thank you so much, iInvestigates, for the membership. God bless you. So hey, Junior. Oh, thank you so much, Junior. I appreciate that. It really helps out the channel. Again, I try not to beg. I do put up the goal. I don't know why. Is the goal not? Oh, the goal ended. I might have just put an hour. Oh, what time did we start? Oh, we got 2.5 hours. Okay. I was planning on doing a members live, but I was kind of hoping to go through this a little bit faster, but as you guys know, I'm a visual person. I always try to add in context where I can. First, I would encourage to go check out, Seth's latest live. And of course, we have to give a huge shout out to Justine. Give me just a second, guys, so I can put this in chat, because we do got to support our local content creators whenever we can. Pretty little clues, right? Pretty little clues. Hopefully that's it. Just bear with me, guys. Just a second.
Protect your legacy.
No. Not that song. Please, no. Okay, yeah, this is the right channel. Okay. Boop. There we go. If you guys would like, just to show our support, I'll end it. Ooh, people are split. I'm a little surprised. So I did have a poll going. Do you think the new lawsuits will end with justice for Sebastian, which obviously could mean a multitude of things? They find Sebastian, either way, but justice is served. They find what happened to Sebastian, whether alive or not, praying alive, and those responsible are put behind bars. 58% say yes, so nearly 60%. So it's basically 60-40 with almost 400 votes. 40% say no. So most of you think that, something will happen from this lawsuits. I do think it'll take some time. Probably next year. Hopefully sooner. Hopefully somebody just cracks, but I think it'll come down, in my opinion, to Chris and Katie and them just turning on each other. And I think we can all know who's going to turn on who first if that happens. I'm sure probably most of us can agree that if they, because it is going to come down to, those two, especially on how much, who was directly involved and how much, knew, like the before and after, and maybe it was not so much the hands on, during him going missing. But I think he, please go and like and subscribe. Here's the pretty little clues who did a wonderful job interviewing Seth. Oh, you think Katie will turn on Chris? Is that what you mean, Zeus? I'm sorry. If it comes down to that, let me know in chat. Chris or Katie? Who would turn on? Who's the first one to go to law enforcement? Who's going to flip on who first? Yes, it is my pleasure. Again, like I said, I don't really watch other channels. I mean, ever since I started my channel, for many reasons. Of course, if I'm getting, if I'm getting clips from stuff, then I watch. But that's just kind of how I've been for many, many reasons. No, I agree, Snooki. Yeah. No, those, and again, AI can't tell us everything, but AI can run temperature readings on the light sources, so you can get an idea whether it's an LED or a halogen light. And yeah, the one thing we can tell from those subject 1 and 2, those are LED lights, typically commonly used now in flashlights. And yeah, a little keychain flashlight, yeah, that wouldn't. And I know some people think like a cell phone light would do it. Maybe, I don't think so. I know some probably newer phones probably have a pretty good, decent light. I think it's a flashlight, personally, like an LED flashlight. I don't think a phone, but I could be wrong. I don't think they would have probably been walking around with their phones, just because, especially, I mean, yeah, they could probably put it in airplane mode, but clearly they have been able to get away with the electronic side of things, like the geofencing, whatever, at least the basics. We don't know how much they've, looked into, their infotainment center, their OnStar, their Bluetooth. Katie says that they did the Life 360, which again is hooked up to a lot of different devices. But I think some of that was just for appearance. That was for the alibi, right? But I think, yeah. But again, I just want to thank everybody. And Sensei, happy birthday, happy belated birthday. And thank you to everybody. And I'm so glad, thank you to everybody being so respectful in the chat. I get sometimes people disagree. We're all human. We all have our own thoughts and opinions, and we're not going to agree on everything. And I know some topics are more sensitive than others, and I get that, things can, people disagree. But I'm just really grateful that people acted like adults here. You guys are amazing. God bless you. All right, I'm gonna get out of here real quick. Do I got it here? Where's this one? Oh no. Where'd you go? I knew I was going to lose it. I had a new pet sent in. I just hadn't had time to put in the outro. Oh, no, don't do the backup. Yankees. Are you? Oh, there you are. Huh, got you. Found you. This is the latest one from, and this is just for the members only. Again, we'll try to do a live tomorrow, and I'll just try to make it a quicker live so we can do a members after. But this is Arto and Lexi. Beautiful dogs. I'm not sure if that's lab, but anyway, beautiful dogs. Beautiful coat. This was sent in from Brenda. Is this either Brenda or Donna? So I'm sorry. I know it's one of those two. But anyway, I will try to work those into the pet outro. So with that, pet outro, I'm going to play now. And we'll be back live tomorrow. And again, thank you to everybody being so awesome in the chat. And justice for Sebastian. Prayers for Seth. And that he gets answers soon. That we'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless. And thank you to all those that sent in jewels. It's so hard when you're on YouTube. They just pop up so small in chat. Tomorrow, again, just if you guys want, we'll be probably covering Jack and Lily Sullivan because of some mom coming out and doing an interview 15 months later. I think there was quite a bit of people that were following this case, were following that case. I thought we'd go over her interview and just some highlights of what's happened since the 15 months. Yeah, great job, Justine. Good to see you, Cooper. Jaren, good to see you. Miriam, good to see you. Thank you, Bo. Good to see you, Sasha. I know you've been with this channel for a long time. Sensei, thank you so much, sweetheart. Good night, Shadow. Joanne, thank you so much. Good night to you. Candles. Thank you, and I appreciate the helping out with the insight. I appreciate that. Amazing job, Sensei. God bless you, sweetheart. I think one of our mods lost a pet recently.